Hi friends, in this video I will update my views and valuation on Alibaba. This video will only highlight the most important, the most central stuff around the company right now. I have published more in-depth videos of Alibaba earlier in my channel, so if you want to see a deeper dive on Alibaba, go and have a look at those videos on my channel Arctic Money. Now, Alibaba stock has been flat for a year now, with big volatility as was anticipated. Last 3 years the stock price has halved, so it has been rough times for Alibaba shareholders like me. Alibaba has been for a long time my biggest position and is unfortunately on the losing side for me, but nevertheless I still see potential in it, and that's why it is my biggest position still. I feel it's still pretty massively undervalued, to be honest. This is if things in China don't get crazy from geopolitical perspective. Talking about geopolitics, let's go quickly through the risks around Alibaba stock, and there unfortunately is plenty of risk around. And even before getting to those risks, I want everyone to know who are watching this that there is a significant risk for you to lose everything you have invested in Alibaba. It can happen, and if you're not okay with this fact, then my only advice to you would be that do not invest in Alibaba at all. Simple as that. The risks around the stock. Firstly, as said, a China-USA-Taiwan conflict or China supporting Russia with arms in Russia's cowardly and unlawful attack on Ukraine might cause reactions, with end result being that you lose everything as a Western investor you have invested in Alibaba. This is the ultimate bear case. It is possible, but according to me, highly unlikely. We could talk endlessly about the geopolitical tensions of the world, but as that probably is not my expertise here, I suggest you listen to other experts on the topic. But I will only say that personally I think that China is not Russia and Russia is not China. China has so much to lose if they choose the cowardly actions Russia has taken. I hope and believe Chinese leadership wants good for its people and will not do anything that changes the world as we know it completely. Then, regulatory risk that derives from Alibaba just being so huge in China. There inevitably will be clashes with the Communist Party, but this is business as usual. Facebook and Google too have clashes with the US legislators. Actually, some regulation CCP is doing might even benefit Alibaba on the cost of their smaller competitors, because rules will apply to all here. Next, where is globalization going? Alibaba's international expansion dreams might become more difficult should rest of the world see China as an undesirable business partner in the future. Much is at stake in Ukraine for China too. Hope they decide to act wisely. Sanctions for China for delivering weapons to Russia most likely will hurt Alibaba and many other Chinese businesses too. Then, there will be competition for Alibaba in China and internationally, obviously, but considering all the research I have done, Alibaba truly wants to be the last man standing in many of the industries and is going for an ecosystem that can print money for the shareholders in the future. But I do want to highlight that this will be in the distant future still if they achieve all their stated goals. Patience is needed by investors with this one especially. Then, accounting and financial fraud. No evidence yet of such things with Alibaba, but it needs to be mentioned as a risk because you simply don't have as much access to financials of a Chinese company like Alibaba than for any other company in any other Western markets. And finally, VIE structure also needs to be mentioned as a risk, but I haven't seen anything alarming concerning it. It seems to work still for everyone. Also, delisting fears of Alibaba from New York Stock Exchange. Fears around these delisting fears seem to have eased as US auditors have had a chance to visit China and Alibaba now. This whole thing about delisting, in my opinion, seems to be moving in the right direction. Well, that was kind of a lot of risks around Alibaba. That's pretty terrifying, but at this point you surely all know that Alibaba is a high risk, high reward play on Chinese economy. Now let's list what are the rewards in investing in Alibaba then. You will get exposure to one of the world's quickest growing middle classes in China. Most likely Alibaba will be, if it already isn't, the most important ecosystem of products and services in China and other Asian countries, and maybe a significant player also in the rest of the world in the future. Alibaba can achieve huge profits if it is able to grow the number of users and grow the amount of money they spend on Alibaba's platforms constantly. Scalability can lead to greatness like Amazon has shown, and Alibaba is aiming for similar results like Amazon did. Spawner ecosystem of new and old businesses aiming for shared economies of scale. Alibaba wants to provide unmatched value to customers and make itself irreplaceable for consumers. Herein one can achieve truly wide moats in business. Then, Alibaba is the enabler of commerce in China and wants to provide value to consumers but also to Chinese merchants. Their mission aligns with CCP's desires, and thus I believe that Chinese leadership truly wants and needs Alibaba to succeed also internationally as well as in China. This is why I wouldn't be too worried about any regulatory crackdowns that receive, in my opinion, way too much coverage in the Western media. The regulatory crackdowns that did already happen on Alibaba, I mean. Alibaba is not concerned about short-term profits or short-term goals. They are building for the future and have long-term focus. As an investor, one must like that. Then the valuation. I have updated it, but big picture really remains the same as in my last video. I believe Alibaba's fair value with 10% discount rate being $141. I understand valuing a company that is building the ecosystem of tomorrow that takes place really maybe 10 years from now or something like that. That is a wildly difficult task, but in my own investing I need to have and I want to have a number in my mind where I think the risks will start to outweigh the rewards. Because with Alibaba there certainly are risks, as I just described to you. Now, as I said earlier, if you are losing sleep over the possibility that your Alibaba position might go to zero, the only advice I give is don't own Alibaba in that case. Now I do stress that I am not and I cannot give anyone financial advice here, and I don't even want to give. These are only my own opinions I'm presenting here on YouTube, as you know. I am going to now tell you, nevertheless, how I have planned to proceed with Alibaba in my own investing. As you know, Alibaba still is my biggest position and is unfortunately on the losing side. Losing side pretty much, to be honest. I am planning to start trimming my position, my biggest position, at $127, maybe a bit, and then trim bigger share of Alibaba in my portfolio if the stock reaches $141. That would be my fair value for Alibaba stock as things stand now. So if the stock would move there at 141, I would do more trimming. How much to trim then? Well, I don't know that yet for sure, but if such a miracle were to happen already this year, that Alibaba climbs up to $141 and beyond even, well, that means something new must have come up with Alibaba, something has changed, so I will reassess the situation calmly then when it happens, if it happens. But this is how I'm going to play it myself now. Most likely as things stand, I am not adding to my position only for the fact that it is already my biggest position. Yes, I indeed bought Alibaba with too high prices previously. It's easy to say in hindsight now, but as I mentioned the risks for you, there were plenty of risks and I am not comfortable right now making my position bigger than it already is now. Simple as that. Well, this was my update on Alibaba now. For more Alibaba videos, check my channel page, subscribe to the channel if Alibaba is of interest to you, and I will see you in the next video. And by the way, in the near future I am planning to do an update video on my complete stock portfolio and do a ranking video of stocks I have followed. So which would be the stocks I would be currently most interested to buy at the moment as things stand. So subscribe to the channel and you won't miss any of those videos. See ya and bye bye.